My name's Adam Kishleski, former sergeant in the Marine Corps, 26 years old. Right after the surge in Fallujah, there was a couple firefights. Lost my left arm and my right leg.
When wounded warriors return home from conflict, they often face long-term care and recovery, isolated from their family and peers. The Telemedicine and Advanced Technology Research Center is now developing the Amputee Virtual Environment Support Space, or AVES, in the virtual world of Second Life.
This will be the next generation of caring for our military amputees.
Traditionally, soldiers would have their support groups over the telephone. Sometimes the doctor would come out to visit, but given the number of patients, this becomes prohibitive.
Second Life gives participants a sense of presence. It can be accessed from any laptop computer with a broadband internet connection.
This proof of concept will be further enhanced when we move to the Second Life Enterprise solution.
You can visit our demo island today. Sound barriers restrict voice chat to the auditorium, which makes it perfect for private presentations or support group meetings. Many other parcels allow for confidential conversations as well. And with shared media, you can bring any interactive web application into Second Life.
The powerful part is you do them as a group. If you're just alone on the web, you don't get the involvement that you do when people are all together.
The AVES Island is all about engaging visitors. You can go sports fishing, hang gliding, race a motorboat, jump out of a plane with your parachute, or simply hang out on the beach with your friends.
Hello everyone, welcome to the show. I'm Marie. Today I'm only going to be using my avatar to talk with Gentle, who is the co-founder of Virtual Ability and Second Life. She's going to be talking with us live on Skype. Hi Gentle, can you hear me?
I sure can. Good to talk to you, Marie.
You too. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
I have to remind people I'm only using my avatar on the screen, and then I was able to find a few images of Virtual Ability online. So they're just gonna be hearing you and hearing my voice and seeing some images, and then I'm hoping to play one of your videos online toward the end.
Oh gosh.
So it's a lot of different medium today. Yep. So first, welcome to the show. It's great to have you on.
Thank you.
I was hoping to actually be in Second Life, and I realized this is going to be too challenging. This is like too much at the same time. So I'm so glad you're able to be on with us, even though you're in a different time zone altogether. But it's great to have you on. So first, for me, we met when I went to, I think we met at an NPC meeting. I'm not sure if we met beforehand, but it was at a Nonprofit Commons meeting, one of those Fridays. Of course, we've sort of seen you people all the time, and I wanted to start by talking about how you first discovered Second Life itself, and if that's related in any way to the Nonprofit Commons.
Well, I guess kind of remotely related to Nonprofit Commons. A couple of friends and I, who are all of us disabled, realized that we were missing out on a sense of community. We just couldn't manage that with our disabilities in our local communities. And so we started thinking, what could we do instead? And I can't even remember which one of us said, well, let's look at virtual worlds. So we looked at several virtual worlds, and the one that was best developed back then, 5 years ago, was Second Life. So we came into Second Life and went through all the horrible things that you go through as a newbie in a new environment. We had to learn how to function, and that's where we started from.
So you didn't come for the fun stuff like some people come in. You came in looking for something very specific.
Yes, we were looking for socialization because that was something we couldn't find in the real world.
Great. So the first few days, do you even think about those times right now, or those like long memories? What those first few days were like when you first officially logged on?
I think it was probably like it is for most everybody else. It's a culture shock.
Yeah.
I mean, if you move to a totally different country with a language that's different and the transportation is different and everything is different, you have some learning to do, and I think it's similar here.
Yeah, I mean, I think even sitting down was complicated for me when I got on there. So it's like completely newbie. So let's dive right in to talk about Virtual Ability, because I recently learn about it because of the nonprofit coming over there. And for those who may not know, give us a little bit about the mission and also what inspired you, and I know there are other founders, to create such a community-driven organization.
Sure. Virtual Ability is three things, actually. It is a community in Second Life. It is a community actually of over 650 people. And we have a mission in Second Life to enable people with lots of different kinds of disabilities by providing them a supporting environment so they can enter and become active and thrive in online virtual worlds. To do that, we have an island that is also called Virtual Ability Island, and we'll talk about that, I'm sure, later on in the interview. And we have a 501c3 that is a corporate nonprofit under the U.S. tax laws, and it is called Virtual Ability Inc. And the reason that we have that corporation is to support our work in Second Life.
Okay, so we have a twofold. The organization does exist in real life,
Yes.
but provides services in Second Life as well. So full-blown functioning nonprofit organization, but also have ventured into Second Life with programming and services.
Yes. We have no services that we can offer in real life because our work is entirely in the virtual world.
Okay. That's good to know, because there are some organizations who do have some work that they offer similar work in virtual and the real world. So it's great to know. I actually went to the island. Well, I've been there before because I think that's where most of some of the activities take place that I've gone to in the past, especially the auditorium. And it's I find it very easy. I wish the welcoming center for Linden was that sort of easy when you first land there.
See, that's one of the features of our island.
It is. So
on our website, we have a way for people with disabilities to enter Second Life through our website rather than through the Second Life website.
Oh, yes.
Because there are people who need special assistance, or there are people who use assistive technology to access their computer.
Right.
And those people just frankly out and out cannot enter Second Life through the Second Life website. So we have to provide them with additional support. We also created that newcomer training course, the NROC, the New Resident Orientation course. And that is designed with two background theoretical principles. One is the principle of andragogy, which is adult instruction, which is different than teaching children. And the other is universal design, which means making things so that they work for people with all different kinds of disabilities. And you probably didn't see anything there that looked like, here's a big sign with the blue wheelchair access. You don't see that on our islands because we make everything accessible to everybody.
That's great.
That's part of our principle.
Well, the first plus I saw was a lack of I wasn't confused as I'm usually am when I first land in certain places, and so I kind of knew there were directions to sort of helping once I get to the island, which is great.
Yes.
So one of the things I wanted to talk about, it's great. I'm so happy that your organization exists, and I've heard a lot of great things about just providing the awareness that most people were not even really thinking about in terms of this particular platform and technology. Given that, do you see any other issues that continue to be a challenge for those with disabilities, or even within your own organization to continue?
Actually, yes. One of them is very specific to virtual worlds. No virtual world is easy to interface with assistive technology. If you're blind and you're using a screen reader, if you are paralyzed and using voice recognition technology to type, that's going to be more difficult than for a fully able-bodied person to access any virtual world. And the other is very similar to the problems we face in the real world. It's just that we want to be accepted as individuals with abilities. We don't want to be seen for our disability. And in some ways, being in a virtual world helps because sometimes you can hide your disability. My avatar can walk. my real life body can't.
Right.
And so if you just look at my avatar, you don't know that I'm physically disabled. But we have people in our community who type very slowly, or who can only answer with single words. We have one man in our community who uses a switch-operated contact, because the only thing he can control is the motion of a fist. And so he can only answer yes and no questions. He can't communicate any other way.
Okay.
And people tend not to want to communicate with people who can't use the full range of typing and voice.
Yeah, so that's all continues to be another challenge. And one of the topic that came up during one of the presentation, I think last year, was the idea of representation of people with disabilities, because I'm sure in most communities we do, again, you know, I think that's the misconception, because people are used to seeing disabilities, and so a lot of time there are some individuals where you can't physically see if they have a disability. And so a lot of time I wonder if you've seen any in the media, any sort of positive representation of individuals with, whether it's physical or other disabilities, being portrayed in the media.
I should have warned you ahead of time, Marie. I don't even own a television.
Oh my
so
God.
I don't know a lot about media. But somebody recently told me on ABC there's a show about a girl who's deaf, and they said it had a really positive message. I think they call it Switched at Birth.
Oh.
She is trying to explain that because she's deaf, it doesn't mean she's disabled.
Right.
It just means she can do everything else that everybody else can do in her family. So I at least have heard of that show.
Yes. I think during our discussion, covert affairs came up, because there is a character who's blind and also use a cane, I believe, and he's like the tech guy that everybody seemed to like, because this is someone who's fully functional. It's not, I mean, clearly you can see there is a disability, but it's always interesting because it kind of shatters some perception in terms of, you know, what can this person do? And this is the person who served as the guide for most of the officers in the field, in terms of telling them where to go and what to do, and any sort of crisis they seem to get into. Like, he's the one who sort of helped them navigate their way through technology, sometimes out of it. So I thought that was pretty cool.
That is neat.
Yeah. So it's pretty interesting. So we'll leave the media out of it. So let's, you know, our time is going to be really short. So one of the things I wanted to talk about, I know you're always doing something in Second Life, whether it's a presentation or even others who are doing different programs. So is there anything coming up in 2012 that we can promote and let people know about?
Sure. I think there's a couple of things you might want to know about. One thing that we're doing an experiment with a distributed conference series. The series is called Waiting for the World to Change, and it's based on topics that were surfaced by the UN Conference on the Rights of Persons with Disabilities.
Okay.
And so, for example, this week we have Dyverse Steele talking about the UN social justice, disability, and HIV/AIDS. So that's a topic that was of importance to the UN. And the other thing we're doing is we're working in collaboration with the Centers for Independent Living. These are federally funded projects in every one of the U.S. states.
Yes.
And their mission is to provide the living skills and the resources that are necessary for people with disabilities to stay in their local community rather than being put into some sort of an institution like a nursing home, because the outcomes are really much more positive for people with disabilities who stay in their homes. So we're working with them in Second Life to help them reach more of their customers and provide the living skills training using Second Life.
That's great. I think most places have one. I know we definitely have a few in Massachusetts that are in several communities, and they serve different age group in populations within the disability community. So that's great. And I think I saw that there's a conference coming up in July also, which is months away from now.
Oh, that you're probably looking at our website and saw the conference from last July. But yes, we will probably have another one. It's an international conference, and it is about how in different countries, the rights of people with disability are promoted through legislation and practices.
Okay. So one of the things before we run out of time I wanted to talk about, I'm always talking about girls with disabilities and women as well. And so one of the key points I wanted to talk about is how you think gender play a role in terms of getting access to services or resources for women and girls with disabilities.
Higher than women without disabilities. They're at very high risk for sexual abuse, neglect, maltreatment, and exploitation. One of the things you might not think about, women with disabilities need general health care as well as needing specialty care because of their disabilities. Now, I know a lot about this, so you're going to have to stop me because I'm just going to go on and on. The reason I know a lot about this is because the very first session back in 2011 of the series that we're doing on Waiting for the World to Change was run by a couple of graduate students in occupational therapy who talked about women and girls with disabilities. And so from them, I learned that there are about 27 million women in the U.S. who have disabilities. That's a large number.
Wow.
And over half of the women who are older than 65 have a disability. That's a staggering number. Women with disabilities face discrimination in education, employment, access to housing, I mean, you name it. They have inequitable hiring processes that they have to go through. Access to training is less for women. They're less involved in family economic decision making. We still do not receive equal pay for equal work. Women with disabilities are at a really high risk of gender-based violence. It's known that lots of women with disabilities don't receive regular health screenings, so they're not meeting the recommended guidelines just for regular health care. And the reason is because healthcare professionals don't know how to address the health of women with disabilities. And one area that they're particularly poor at is addressing the sexual health of women with disabilities. Doctors assume that women with disabilities are not sexually active, so they won't screen them for sexually transmitted diseases, and they don't educate them about safe sex practices. There have been studies that have been shown that gynecologists are less likely to ask women with disabilities about contraceptive use.
Right.
And that's kind of frightening.
It is. I know that one firsthand because after I thought about it and I'm on the bus thinking and I'm like, oh, I should have added a question on that because I work in a women's health center and we made a special point to really, when we say women from all walks of life, for some reason, women with disabilities were not included in that category for some reason. And so when people are discussing, even not just sexual dysfunctions, for example, but even just talking about pleasure or partners or being in relationships, because there seems to be a tendency, again, when you're talking about sexual health in relation to certain populations, to jump into diseases and other, high-risk behaviors versus doing a balanced discussion of both.
Well, it's general health, too.
Right.
In general health, women generally have pelvic exams. But women with disabilities report that doctors tell them they can't do a pelvic exam on them or that it's unnecessary and that it's too difficult for the doctor to do. So this is really a problem.
Wow.
And depression is another issue women with disabilities face. I mean, depression is twice as common among women as it is among men anyhow. But depression is maybe 3 times more common for people with disabilities than for people in general. And I heard about a study of women with disabilities who found that depression for them was linked to more pain, greater stress,
Right.
lack of social support, and less mobility.
Yeah.
So all these issues tie together, and they make it really difficult for women with disabilities.
Yeah, I'm hoping we'll do more in that area. I had a chance to quickly IM one of the grad students that you recommended to me. So I'm hoping in 2012 or even, within this program to do some shorter segments on specific topics, because there are so many that a lot of time it's hard to unpack all of it and really give them, do justice to each issue when you're talking about access and then resources and services. So, so I'm hoping we'll do a part 2 or 3 on this.
Yeah, those gals are great. They have a lot of information.
Yeah, so I'm hoping they'll come back. So the last thing I wanted to talk briefly about is, are there opportunities for people to get involved with virtual ability and Second Life? So what, if they wanted to get involved, what's the best, how could they get involved and ways to reach you?
2 really easy ways. We have a website, which is simply www.virtualability.org.
Yeah, we're looking at that right now.
And on that website, you can access us through Facebook, you can access us through Twitter, you can access us through blog. You only have to remember the website, virtualability.org.
Yeah.
And we also have mail. We can get mail through info@virtualability.org.
Great.
So those are 2 very easy ways.
Quick ways to get in touch. So it's a great way. I'm projecting that on the screen, and so that's gonna be all time. So what I wanted to do was to basically stay in the loop, let people know what virtual ability is. The website is on. They know how to get in touch with Twitter, Facebook, and of course they can always get into Second Life. And so I'm hoping we'll stay in touch and you tell me more. Any final word you wanted to say about virtual ability for our viewers?
Well, notice the word ability in the name of the community. That's what we stand for, is ability.
And that was a conscious decision?
Yes. Oh, yes.
Great.
We're all about abilities.
Great. Thank you so much for being on. I'm going to show them a brief clip of the video that's on the website. And then I'm hoping to bring them more news as I hear more about activities going on in Second Life. And so we'll stay in touch. I'll probably see you on Friday.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Thank you so much.
My name's Adam Kishleski, former sergeant in the Marine Corps, 26 years old. Right after the surge in Fallujah, there was a couple firefights. Lost my left arm and my right leg.
When wounded warriors return home from conflict, they often face long-term care and recovery, isolated from their family and peers. The Telemedicine and Advanced Technology Research Center is now developing the Amputee Virtual Environment Support Space, or AVES, in the virtual world of Second Life.
This will be the next generation of caring for our military amputees.
Traditionally, soldiers would have their support groups over the telephone. Sometimes the doctor would come out to visit, but given the number of patients, this becomes prohibitive.
Second Life gives participants a sense of presence. It can be accessed from any laptop computer with a broadband internet connection.
This proof of concept will be further enhanced when we move to the Second Life Enterprise solution.
You can visit our demo island today. Sound barriers restrict voice chat to the auditorium, which makes it perfect for private presentations or support group meetings. Many other parcels allow for confidential conversations as well. And with shared media, you can bring any interactive web application into Second Life.
The powerful part is you do them as a group. If you're just alone on the web, you don't get the involvement that you do when people are all together.
The AVES Island is all about engaging visitors. You can go sports fishing, hang gliding, race a motorboat, jump out of a plane with your parachute, or simply hang out on the beach with your friends. The Seaside Village features bars, cafes, shopping, and a movie theater. The motorcycle track goes all around the island.
And we made it so that it goes underwater. It can be an event for one person. You can set up a race.
Scoring high in everyone's favorite arcade game takes on a whole new meaning when your avatar is trying to clear the maze and eat a few monsters while your friends are cheering you on. The preferred method of transportation in Second Life is teleporting. This is how you enter the build space in the sky where everyone can freely design their very own 3D content.
Everything that you see was created by a resident that started out just like you. Your imagination can go wild.
After a busy day, you can read a bedtime story to your children, feeling a sense of intimacy regardless of your location in the physical world.
This support space has the potential to evolve over time into a virtual clinic where amputees, their families, and even their healthcare providers could connect to supplement, not replace, care and improve the quality of life of our veterans.
Being able to interact at this fundamental level, albeit in avatar form, brings a lot of meaning and foundation to their development.
This is really just the beginning.